Actually, it feels very good. But for me personally, since this was my last attempt and the journey was very long, it was 7 year long journey. So for me, it was a kind of extra happiness that finally I am in. A lot of excitement was also there, but apart from that, a sense of responsibility also crept in at the same time. That now this will entail good responsibility as well.
Hi, in this video, we bring to you insights from a conversation with Vyom Binal, a UPSC CSE 2020 achiever with an All India rank of 141. Hailing from Solan, Vyom managed to balance working and UPSC preparation simultaneously. It took him 6 attempts to crack, but he learned from all of his attempts and learned to manage his preparation so as to crack the UPSC and come out with a rank of 141. Know his secrets to success. Know how he braved through all of his attempts and what kept him motivated until he reached his goal. Watch this video.
My name is Vyom. I secured 141 rank this year. I come from a city called Solan, and this was my last attempt. This was my sixth attempt. I am working in my own factory. Yes, there were actually two main drivers. One is obviously a sense of achievement because it's such a tough exam, and if you crack it, then you're really good at it. Secondly, is the inspiration is my father, because my father is an industrialist, but he's also a social worker. So he actually serves the children from the poor background. So from there, I came to know that to serve society, there are several ways. One can either be a businessman, or one can be a civil servant, a politician, or entrepreneur, and several others. But I thought that in the civil service, the name itself is service. So it is a different from a job. So that was the second thing, and the kind of satisfaction that he had. And I also wanted to have that kind of satisfaction. Therefore, I thought that this is the career that I would choose. See, because it's a very tough exam. So there are several challenges. Suppose you are doing hard work a lot, you are studying 8 to 10 hours, but you don't have the proper guidance. So there, the role of Educami became very important. While in my earlier times, I did get through the interview. I gave two interviews earlier to this as well. But what was lacking in my answer is a kind of presentation, and that was a kind of individual problem. So what Educami did, they provided me one-to-one mentorship. They had a very small batch where we can easily interact with the teachers. And I must praise Dimple ma'am, because in geography, like I was poor at map drawing. So many students complained this. Many students asked her ma'am how to draw it. Then she actually set a routine that before every class, she will actually make us draw two maps of India. So that thing got inculcated in us. So this Educami, I think, offers the product where all else fails because they offer very personalized kind of interactions. Even in interview, uh, I gave it several places. I attended the classes at several institutes, but they were having like 100 to 200 students in a batch. So it was practically very difficult to ask a question. Whereas in the Educami, batch size was never more than 30, and easy interaction was possible. In fact, sometimes the ones who did not ask any questions, the sir or the Prabhat sir, they will actually prompt them that why did not you ask the question? So that kind of personalized mentorship, the which I get from Educami, I think that is unparalleled. Actually, I enrolled at two courses, and one was the main support program, and other was the interview guidance program. And there also, I must admit that Jagdish has been really, helpful because the main support program I joined out of scholarship. So since I had appeared in interview last year, so that was a course which was offered to me at free of cost. So that also shows that education is social commitment. And I really enjoyed these two programs. They actually changed my preparation a lot, and this is the reason that today I am here. That's extremely helpful. I think that's the best part because see, normally the model answers we get from somewhere else, they are like printed answers. And suppose if the question is of say 200 words question, the printed notes they will go on for say 300 words, sometimes even 500 words. But in the Educami, we do get the handwritten notes and the handwritten answers. They're very perfect. So if the question has to be finished in 200 words, then that is there in 200 words itself. Again, the presentation issue, whether the diagrams or the maps, they are drawn in that model answer. So that is the actually the exam kind of model answer, because the other model answers, they are more like that you have to improvise yourself. So here we are getting something we can actually reproduce in the exam very easily. So that is unparalleled. I think I have never seen this kind of model answers anywhere else. Yes, that was because in this case, the feedback was quite personal in a sense that every student has certain plus points and certain minus points. So they will give you what is required for you. So what a candidate requires, because some people may actually lack in presentation, some may lack in facts, some may lack in example, and they don't only assist you in that manner, they actually help you beyond that by providing the material, even though it is not a part of the course necessarily. I knew that some student did ask from the ma'am in a common group that ma'am, we want material for this. She provided that without any reluctance. So this is the kind of actually delivering beyond what they promised. So that is the thing I really liked. So in EduCammy, the class, since the class size was small, there was a thorough interaction was allowed. And classes were regular, they were live classes, we can ask the questions, and they were actually regularly taking our feedback, and they were trying to modify the program according to that. So that is also another thing I like very much, because they were taking our feedback and then they were trying to do those topics, or trying to do it in a manner which we suggested. So it was a kind of dialogue kind of classes. It was not a monologue that we are just sitting and listening, but it was a kind of dialogue which I enjoyed a lot and I liked a lot about it. One thing is about our study schedule. So you have the classes and you have the tests. So that keeps you on your toes, that I have to be in that test. I have to write these questions. So that is one thing. And secondly, I think every person has certain hobbies. Like I have a hobby of reading. Some may have a hobby of cycling or yoga, something like that. So I think these two things, and your focus on your goal, that is something which will keep you motivated, and hobby will give you some respite from all those things, although it was difficult to perform outdoor hobbies in this COVID times, but fortunately my hobby was indoor, so that was not much of an issue for me. My optional was political science and international relations, and there were two main reasons for me to choose that. One is that simply it has a good overlap with the general studies. So it covers with paper 2, a portion of paper 4, and a portion of essay as well. And second is that I have an interest in the political theories. So that is something I have from my college times. Although my college was in graduation was in engineering, but I did have interest in reading, so I was reading the political philosophies. So these two reasons motivated me to take political science. So my timetable was divided on job days and the off job days. So when I was on the job, so I will get up at around 6:30 or 7. I have some half an hour of exercise, then get ready for my work, because I have to report it around 8:30 a.m. So from 8:30 a.m. till 5 o'clock, I was in my office. That was the normal office hours. And during when I was in my office, if I get some free time after lunch, just like 10-15 minutes, there I read some newspaper or the current affairs. And after coming back, after getting some half an hour break, then I studied till my dinner. Then after dinner, I took a just 15-20 minutes walk. Then I again studied in the night. Then I slept. So that was on a working day. On a non-working day, like a holiday or a Sunday, that also I wake up at around 6:30 or 7. I had my normal routine, and then I started with the constant. Then I started study with constant breaks after every 1 hour, because I think the concentration it comes down after 1 hour. So some short break, at least 5-7 minutes of break is required after every 1 hour. So that was my routine on a holiday. And EduCammy has actually played a very great role in that by making the online education almost equivalent to the offline education, because that point of interaction which they give and the kind of feedback they take, whether through the Telegram or through the YouTube or through the email and the others. In fact, they actually call us occasionally to actually ask us that how the course is going. Do you need some kind of modification? So that is the thing I think a revolutionary idea of trying to emulate the offline education in the online format. And not because like many others are doing the same thing, but the difference with the EduCammy is the level of interaction that they allow. And that actually came from a small batch size. So that is the difference between the EduCammy. So I think their emulation of the offline into the online is very accurate actually. It's as close to as offline classes. Yes, when I was there, I was actually writing the answers and submitting it in the institute itself. So it was a kind of discipline could be there because like other people are sitting and you get motivation from them also. But in the online format, I think the only disadvantage is that you have to be highly self-motivated, because when you don't have your peers around you and those things happen, sometimes you may feel loose that okay, I must enjoy myself. So I think that is the internal transformation that is required of every candidate who is trying to prepare online, because his self motivation will matter a lot, because here distraction possibility of distraction is higher. You are in your home, and then when are you giving a test, you do have temptation of cheating or something like that. So I think self motivation requirement is more in online education. See, for the prelims, I think practice is very much important, because answer is sitting in front of you. Okay, and nobody is able to answer the questions which are required for making it to the cutoff. Nobody knows the exact number of questions. Suppose if cutoff is 100, very few people will know 50 questions. So you do have to take a risk. Now you have to analyze that when you take a risk, that and this kind of practice has to be done beforehand. That how much risk you can take so that you can clear it, which is the optimum level of risk. Because if you take too much of risk, then there will be too much of factors. But if you are playing it too safe, then also it will be a problem. So that is for the prelims. For the mains, I think the thing I learned is the presentation is equally important as is the content. In my earlier attempts, I was actually having good content, but I think my presentation was an issue, and that made a whole lot of difference in selection and non-selection. So that is very important to focus upon the presentation, these diagrams, these charts, the flow charts, the maps, and all those things. You try to inculcate them as much as possible. And thirdly, in the interview, I think first of all, we need to get the myths out of it, because sometimes the random questions they sprang up on the Google that you have to do this or that on the interview. I think that is not the case. There you focus more on how you approach a question, not much on your stand. Suppose if they're asking you a question, and you should never think that the stand I am taking is right or wrong, but the way by which you arrive at that stand, whether it is objective, whether it is rational, whether it is constitutional, I think that is considered more important rather than your actual stand. Exam overall, I think, see, it is a kind of marathon exam. It is not a sprint. So I think perseverance is very important in all the three stages you cover, like prelims, mains, or interview. And especially from my personal experience, since it was my last attempt, I think perseverance is very important, because it's not like a sprint, like just single exam and you are in. You have multiple of exam testing, multiple of different kind of skills of the candidate. So I think perseverance along with the hard work and the right direction, these are very important for the exam as such. See, first thing is obviously your motivation. Like in my case, it was about social service and self-satisfaction, the recognition and the that we get, the sense of achievement we get. So when you always have your goal in your mind, you either write it on a paper and paste it on the wall in front of you. So whenever you feel tired, you just look at those things. So that will keep you motivated. So that is, I think, which kept me. And second, obviously, is the confidence that I mentioned earlier as well. Because if you have confidence and self-belief, then you will actually say that if not today, tomorrow I will achieve success. So these are the two things. Always keep your goal in front of you. The motivation reason may be anything. For me, it was these two. For someone else, it may be anything else. But whatever your goal or motivation is, always keep it in front of your eyes, so that every morning you wake up and before night you sleep, you look at it, and this will keep you motivated. And actually evaluate yourself, because see, failure actually means that somewhere you are actually not doing the things which are required. So I think periodical assessment and self-evaluation, self-introspection is very important. I will keep it short and simple. Just three important points. There is no alternate to hard work. You will have to do hard work. Secondly, when you do hard work, making sure that it is a smart hard work. So it should have the proper direction. It should be exam oriented. And third is consistency. It should not be like today you are studying 15 hours and the next day you are like studying just 1 or 2 hours. These three things, hard work along with the smart work with consistency is equal to success, what I feel. The only thing I would like to add is believe in yourself. I think much above than anything else, even hard work, smart work, coaching, material, everything else, it is about confidence. If you have confidence in yourself despite repeated failures, and it's in my case, I feel you can succeed. So I think go with the confidence and you will definitely make it big. Only advice for the aspirants is that see, at the end of the day, it's just an exam. And I think even getting into the service is not that much of an issue. unless and until you serve. So I think it is an exam, and see, this exam do have a lot of subjectivity. So never take a failure as your personal failure, and never stop your ambition from becoming from realizing your ambition, whatever it is. If it's social service, it can be done from other 100 methods. So that will be my final message.